A warm greetings to everyone. Welcome back to another video on our Java series. In this video, we will be discussing about conditional programming in Java. Basically, conditional programming is about providing our program with the option to choose its path of execution. What this means is, let's consider a scenario where you are going to a hotel. And let's consider that they are only serving two dishes. One is, let's say, biryani and two is meals. And when you go in there, you will be having an option to choose among the two. If you say dish 1, you will be served with biryani. If you say dish 2, you will be served with the meals. If you just go inside the hotel, they won't just come ahead and serve you both these dishes, right? They will serve you only a specific dish as per your choice. And also, if you make a choice out of the options that they have provided you, they will say something like, sorry, out of menu, that's not here, you have to choose from the menu, something like that. So basically this is the idea of conditional programming. You will have some options, and based on that options you will be giving some choices, and based on your choices your program will choose its path of execution. I will try to implement this example in this code for you, so you will get a clear understanding of how this works. For this purpose, I am going to create a class. Let's name this class as, let's say, hotel. So within this hotel, you will have an option to choose between two different dishes. So to enable this hotel to serve you with specific dishes, I am going to introduce two functionalities. Let's name it as void dish 1 function and void dish 2 function. So if you are taking this function, you will be served with dish 1. Sys out, your biryani is served. Dish 2, sys out, your meals is served. Okay, so now you have a class hotel which will be serving you two different dishes. In order to get this dish 1, you have to choose 1 from your menu. In order to get dish 2, you have to choose 2 from the menu. So that is the logic I have provided here. So in order to make this happen, I have to create a object for this hotel class equal to new hotel function. Keep this in mind that you have an option to choose from two values, 1 and 2. You have to choose between these two values. So in order to make you capable of choosing between these two values, I am going to introduce another variable called choice. So this is your choice. For now I am keeping this as 1. Know that you can give in 1 or 2. And my requirement is, if I am giving 1, if this choice is equal to 1, then dish 1 function should be called, so that you will be served with biryani. Else dish 2 function. Okay, so it is simple. If you are making the choice as 1, you will be served with biryani, or else what will be the obvious choice for choice variable? 2, right? So if it is not 1, then it will be 2. So else, if it is not 1, then dish 2 function, that is, you will be served with meals. So that is the logic I have written here. So how to convert this as a code that is workable in Java? So basically this is how you will be doing conditional programming in Java. That is, you have this if-else block for doing conditional programming in Java. You have to follow a syntax, that is if followed by the condition braces, and inside this condition braces you have to provide the condition. In our case, I am giving choice equal to 1. If the value of choice is equal to 1, then I have to call the dish1 function. So another thing to note here is that this choice equals to 1 is equivalent to me trying to assign this choice variable with the value 1. But here, as in our case, I want to check if the value of choice is equal to this right hand side value. And for that, For checking the equality between two values, you will be using double equal to operator. Okay, a single equal to is for the assignment purpose if you have to assign a value to a variable, and a double equal to is used in case if we have to compare two values. So this is an equality operator. You are checking if this value contained in the choice variable is equal to the value that is available in the right hand side. In our case, the value of choice is 1 equal to, it is checking if 1 equal to 1. And in our case, it is true. So if it is true, then what should happen? This if block should be executed. And that can be contained within the curly braces. Then I have to call the dish one, right? So h dot dish one function. As a result, whoever is making the choice one will be served with biryani, or else they will be served with dish 2, which in our case is meals. Another thing you can note here is that the body of this else is not contained within the curly braces, right? If you want to, you can do that as well. But if your if or else block is only having a single statement, it is not mandatory to be enclosed within the curly braces. Just a FYI. So now if you observe here, I have created an object of hotel and my user have made a choice 1, so he's choosing the first dish. So in order to make that happen, I am making the check. I am checking if he has made the choice 1. If he did made the choice 1, then he will be served with biryani. That is dish 1 function. Or else he will be given dish 2. So let's see if that works fine. Your biryani is served. What if I give the choice as 2? What happens? Will this be executed? Definitely no. Why? Because when my control comes here, my compiler will check if the value of choice is equal to 1. Is my choice value equal to 1? No. As a result, my compiler won't execute this body. Instead, he will move on to the next else block. And within this else block, I am executing h.dish2 function. As a result, this dish2 function will be called and your meals is served will be printed. You can observe the output here. So this is how you will be using the conditional programming. So now based on the condition that you are providing, your program path varies. The execution path varies, and that is the conditional programming in Java. So what if I am giving the value as 3? What happens now? So first my compiler comes here and checks if the value of choice is 1. Is the value of choice 1? No. So it goes to the else block and print dish2 function. But this dish2 function should be printed only if the user is inputting the choice as 2. I have already mentioned this before, right? If the user is making a choice beyond the menu, then the supplier should say something like please select something from the menu. As of now, it is not happening. So what should happen here is that I should first check if the choice value is equal to 1. Else, if this choice is equal to 2. And then only I should provide a default condition. And that can be done with the help of if else if ladder. That is, all you have to do is here introduce a else if block. That is, if this condition is false, then we should be able to check another condition rather than falling back to a else block. So here we will give something like else if the value of choice is equal to 2. Then dish 2 should be served. If the customer is making a choice that is neither of the two in the menu, then it should print something like sysout. Please select from the menu. Fine. So now what happens when I given the value of choice as 3, first it comes here and check if the value of choice is 1. No, so it comes out, goes to the else if block and check again if the value of choice is equal to 2. If it still doesn't find a matching condition, what happens? It falls to this default else block. So for all values other than 1 and 2 that exist in the menu, what happens? This else block will be executed. And if I execute this code, you can see the output. So for all values other than 1 and 2, this will be printed. So this is how conditional programming is done in Java. Now there is one more way by which you can do conditional programming. Other than by using this if else and else if ladder, there is something else that you can use. That is termed as switch case. So switch case is something that we can use for doing conditional programming in Java. We will have a switch and we will have different cases to match that switch with. So the first thing to note here is that within this braces you have to provide the variable on which your program flow is completely dependent on, which in our case is choice variable, right? The value of this choice variable dictates the program flow. We have already seen that when we have used if else block. And now what we do is that within these cases you will provide the different values accepted by this choice variable. So you will say that for case when this choice is having value 1, something needs to be done, which in our case was I should be serving the dish 1. Similarly, for the case when the choice variable is having value 2, so what should be the case when choice variable is having the value 2? Dish 2 should be served. In if else block we had the else block, but here within the switch case we don't have a else block. Instead, we have something called a default case. So this default case acts equivalent to our else block. If a value other than the value specified in these cases comes up, it will fall under this default block. So you can print please choose from the menu within this default switch case. So now what happens is that I am having the value of choice as 3 here, right? As a result, what the switch case does is that the switch case will try to find a matching case for this choice variable. So what switch case does is that switch case will search for a case where the value is 3. Is there a case with 3 available? No. As a result, it will fall under this default switch case. As a result, what happens? This statement will get printed. You can see that in the console. Please choose from the menu. So what if my customer chose it from the menu? What if he wanted to eat biryani? He gave the choice as 1, which means that it comes to line 20, the value of choice is taken as 1 and we have a matching switch case for the value 1. As a result, dish1 function will be called and biryani will be served. Is that it? So I will just execute it and let's see if it works. Here you can observe that it printed the entire cases available within our switch case. So why did this happen? When we were using if else block, we never encountered this problem. Only the code contained within the specific blocks were executed. The rest of the blocks were avoided. But here what happens is that even if the switch case finds a matching case, it won't avoid the rest of the cases. All the cases following the specific matching case will definitely get printed. So that is the problem with switch case. So what can be done here? You can introduce a breaker here. That is, you can say that if this case 1 is matched, stop it there. Don't execute the rest of the cases. And that can be done using the break statement, break keyword. So what happens here is that when this case 1 is matched, it is followed by this break keyword, right? And break keyword will just terminate my program execution within the switch case. So this case 2 and this default switch case won't get executed. If you are having some other statement defined outside this switch case, definitely they will get executed. So I will just execute this and show this to you. You can see your biryani is served. The rest of the switch case execution were terminated. So now if you change this choice to 2, what happens? Dish 2 function will be executed. Why? Because we are having a matching case 2 here for the value 2 for choice. And then since I am not having any break keyword, what happens? The default case will also be executed. So that can be avoided by introducing another break keyword here. So even if a matching situation comes for case 2, only that specific case will be executed. The rest of the cases following this case will be terminated. Now if I execute this, he will only be served with meals. So this is how switch case is used for performing conditional programming in Java. And another thing to notice that within your switch case, this order of cases are not considered. You can jumble these cases, it doesn't matter, because switch case will go through each of the cases and definitely find a matching case. So it doesn't matter in which order you are giving these cases. Even the default case need not be given as the last case. You can even provide this as the first case. So if some other values comes, what happens? This default case will be printed. You can see the default case is printed, followed by the case 1. Why? Because I haven't provided break statement after default. Since here default is the first case, definitely a break keyword should be followed after this default case. So these are the ways by which you will be doing conditional programming in Java. You can use if-else block or you can use switch case. So I hope the concept of conditional programming in Java is clear to everyone. If that's a yes, I guess we can conclude this video because that's all I got for this one. Until next time, it's your friend Sajin. Have a great day.